more important these days, and that would be critical thinking, which is why we invited the president of the foundation dedicated to exactly that to talk to us this morning and tell us all about it. So Helen Lee Bouygues, president of the Reboot Foundation, joins us. Helen, good morning to you. We appreciate you joining us.
Good morning, Scott.
How bad is misinformation these days?
Well, misinformation is something that has existed all along, but clearly, with the proliferation of social media being such an important part of our dissemination of information, indeed, misinformation has been escalated, as we all know. By the way, one of the studies that the Reboot Foundation has done has shown and demonstrated that regardless of people's income, age, or political affinities, with more usage of social media, we are more exposed and susceptible to misinformation.
Oh, I believe that for sure. And it seems like, the whole fake news phrase came out in the past couple of years. And it seems like in some cases, if people don't believe what they see or hear, they just assume it's fake news. How do you see that whole thing?
Well, the challenge is it's a bit of a circular reference because when social media actually continues to propagate misinformation because they prey on people's emotions, some of what are the big topics, we actually have a real genuine circular reference of misinformation and propagation.
So when you're looking at social media, watching the news, especially with your kids, how do you decipher what is real out there and what is not?
Well, I think the key is really coming down to education with your children. Basic media literacy skills such as asking who is the author, where is the source coming from. Those are basic skills that we need to practice. And also asking who's behind sponsoring the information. And again, taking a check on your emotion. Is this a clickbait? Is this a sensational title that deliberately tries to prey on your emotion so that you can't do as well rational thinking? Those are some of the things that you guys should be looking out for with your children as you're reviewing information.
So how do you instill critical thinking?
Critical thinking is something that is a very simple way of talking about thinking about your own thinking. And some basic skills that you need to think about is questioning your assumptions, analyzing what fact base you have, and then actually thinking about opposing views as well to try to look for your own fallacies or your own cognitive biases, such as shared information bias, which is a tendency when you focus on things that your shared group tends to have a common view on, such as your religious group or even your echo chamber within social media.
I try as much as possible to do fact checking. There's lots of sources out there to do that, and that's a big thing right now. How important is that?
Well, I think it's important to fact check as well, but it's actually a combination of the two because something could be factually correct, but your conclusion of a situation may actually be not in the same direction. And so, as you know, people can do easily selective thinking with basic facts, and yet the conclusions are not necessarily what is the reality. So I think it's important to keep in check. It's important to fact check, but it's also important to, as I mentioned, really look at sources and thinking about your own personal biases and putting it in check.
All right. Well, listen, thank you for your time. We appreciate it. We're all doing the best so that we can be unbiased and get the proper news out there, the right news. So thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Scott.
All right. Take care.